Ladies and gentlemen, people of the internet, welcome back to yet another episode of Crypto Over Coffee. I hope you're doing well today. And if you're new here, every Saturday we break down the latest news and the hottest topics in the world of technology and cryptocurrency over a cup of delicious coffee, which is actually on the floor. I've got this really wacky setup today because my camera's broken, so we're using the phone. It's a whole thing. But that being said, in today's episode, I'm talking about my altcoin investing strategy for crypto dips, a Cardano DeFi power move, our usual 404 logic not found segment, and more. So make sure that you stick around for all the updates today. Now, if you like crypto, please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, or follow the podcast on your platform of choice so you get a heads up whenever I post new episodes of Crypto Over Coffee, which is normally every single Saturday. Now, just a friendly reminder as well, please be aware of scammers that are in the YouTube comments that are posing as me and other crypto YouTubers. They're all over social media as well. You've got Telegram, Instagram, Twitter, WhatsApp, all over the place trying to pretend that they're me. They're now spoofing my email. So please don't send money to anyone, and I will not ask you to contact me. Okay? So if the comment does not have the name highlighted like you see here on the screen, it's not me, and you can report them. So please be safe out there. Now, in partnership with the folks at Keystone, I give away a Keystone tablet steel safe phrase backup device in every episode, and that always trips me up saying that. And I do that by picking a random comment from the YouTube video. So just for transparency, the product is only available in select regions. So if you win and you're from an unsupported region, I'm just going to send you Bitcoin instead. So the winner of last week's giveaway for the Keystone is here on the screen. So big congratulations to you. And of course, I will be in touch. Now, in the title, I teased my altcoin trading strategy for when the markets sell off like they did this past week. And don't worry, I'll also give you my analysis on why we sold off like we did this past week and what is next for the market in terms of at least my intuition. However, one of the big questions I get repeatedly from people is always on this channel, it's what altcoin do I buy at a given time throughout the year? And so I figured I would reveal one of the strategies that I employ, not telling you what coins to buy, but how I figure out what coins to buy for altcoin buying during crypto market dips like the one that we're having right now. What I will say first and foremost, without mincing words, is that you do not have to buy every single dip. Despite the peer pressure on crypto social media, you might feel that you always have to buy the dip. But if you have stable coins or some capital on the sidelines to buy on these occasions, here's how I go about doing it. And I don't buy every dip, by the way. Now, this is also not the end all be all of strategies, so take it with a grain of salt. It's just what works for me. The first thing that I do is I head over to CoinGecko and I survey the biggest losers in the market at that given time. Basically, the coins that have gotten hit the hardest, and look for coins that I know of or already have in my portfolio in that list of bad performers, that especially ones that I have as long-term holds, right? For those coins, I will build my position up during times when the coin is not doing well. A simple way to prevent oneself from buying the top of a speculative altcoin is doing just that. I also keep a list throughout the year of coins that I want to buy, but might have missed a good entry point into, one that might be at all-time highs. Or I'll keep an eye out for those on the biggest loser list and really try and figure out when is a good time to get in. The next thing I'll do is I'll head over to my CoinStats app, which aggregates my main portfolio holdings. It gives me an instant view into which coins that I'm holding are holding up against the dip very well and which ones are getting hit hard in my portfolio. I often look to cycle some capital through to coins that have sold off maybe 5%, 10% or so, particularly if I'm looking to double down on a mid to long-term position on that coin. So I use the dips as an opportunity to grow my portfolio at a better price. Now, the flip side to this is when to sell, which I do fairly often at dip time. Sometimes taking a loss is an okay outcome. So when I have coins in my portfolio that I just don't think have legs anymore, I sell those at a loss to offset gains on other trades when I can. Of course, how to determine if that coin doesn't have a future for you is totally up to you as a personal choice, if you will. So I can give you an example of a complete trade here, just one that I did recently. I had a couple of Binance Smart Chain altcoins that I dabbled in within the gaming space and the Metaverse space, and I was ready to sell out of them. And I sold those 3 altcoins to stable coins and then swapped them over to Uniswap to build my position on a long-term hold of mine, Network or NetVRK. Along with other gaming and metaverse coins, Network has held up really, really well in this market-wide dip, but there have been a couple small windows of opportunity to buy, and that's just an example, right? Don't copy what I did directly because this was, I guess, a week old now. The key is this. you're not buying altcoins to make a 5% gain or a 10% gain, right? You're trying to find areas where you can get larger percentage gains and high risk, high reward. And you only really do that with any reasonable probability when you're buying those coins low, when they're not hyped to all get out, and big market dips are a great chance to get those coins at those prices. This will not guarantee you success. Of course, nothing can, but it can help find some gems along the way. The last element of this strategy, though, for me is to round it all out with more aggressive trading in my crypto individual retirement account over at iTrust Capital, who are a sponsor of the show on sort of an ongoing basis, because in retirement accounts, I'm trading with pre-tax money, where I'm not accruing capital gains or losses on my trades. Therefore, within this IRA, I make larger trades during peaks and valleys of the market. When I see all-time highs, I sell out of a large portion of my holdings in that IRA, and I put those funds into gold or a USD pegged asset to kind of sit on the sidelines for the next buying opportunity. Then when there's a big dip, maybe over 10%, over 20%, I throw that capital back in the market. For me, this is the best way to grow my long-term crypto holdings for blue chip coins like Bitcoin, Ether, DOT, etc., with more aggressive trading methods that would otherwise accrue lots of capital gains by selling in bulk outside of this IRA. So the tax treatment is key for US folks here. Of course, everyone's tax situation is different, so consult a professional should you want to implement something like this for yourself. That said, if you want to try iTrust Capital for your own crypto IRA, you can get a $100 Bitcoin bonus for signing up and funding your account through my link in the description and pinned comment. So there's no pressure there, but putting it out there just in case you might be interested. Now, we've made much ado, that is, about the crypto market dip this week, which came largely during the aptly named Black Friday. A darkness befell the cryptocurrency market along with traditional markets. Basically, all the markets were in kind of a rough way this past week. And this is undoubtedly in response to the utter fear and panic that was ensuing after reports of yet another rising variant of the virus that we have all come to know very intimately over the last couple of years. Naturally, with supply chains under immense pressure, money being printed like the labels on Hershey's chocolate bars, and people around the world still kind of struggling to get back on their feet, the idea of, I guess, another wave of what we've experienced this past 2 years definitely puts people in a state of unrest. And that unrest turns into speculation of sort of another tough period or rough period for markets around the world. And that fear permeates all markets, from crypto to traditionals all around the world. And that's where we are now, right? So don't be surprised if we sell off more in the coming days, and especially if more bad news or more scary news comes out. That said, it is temporary, in my opinion. Last year's Black Friday Bitcoin and crypto sale happened in somewhat similar fashion, to be honest, leading up to breaching previous all-time highs from 2017, 2018 shortly thereafter. So we had a pretty significant crash, a big buyback, and I'm not saying we're going to go straight back to bullishness, but what I'm saying is that panic and fear is generally the worst possible thing right now for us to do. So stick to your plan. Think about the fact that this is affecting both crypto and traditional markets. Don't get pulled into making emotional decisions at this juncture in either one of those two markets. Now, a while back, I shared my interest in a Cardano project called Ardana, which is a stablecoin / DeFi hub building critical DeFi primitives in the Cardano ecosystem. And recently, Ardana and NEAR protocol announced a partnership that I think is pretty significant. So for those of you who are unaware of what NEAR protocol is, it is at a super high level, mind you, a proof of stake blockchain with several interesting pieces of technology woven into it for scalability and performance, and it's a big bet on the multi-chain future. NEAR itself is starting to grow into a DeFi capacity as well. So a partnership with Ardana to bring the NEAR coin to Cardano as collateral for issuing stablecoins on the Ardana platform is a pretty brilliant move in my book. The interface between Cardano as a blockchain and other chains is going to be critical to bootstrap the network's DeFi ecosystem, and that's not a secret. On an ongoing basis, transitive interoperability with other ecosystems like Polkadot or Cosmos, for example, will be very important going forward for Cardano. In fact, the leaders behind NEAR protocol have long discussed the idea of the multi-chain future, and it is a big part of the protocol's mission. And that's something that I really feel particularly passionate about myself, and you know that. So I tip my hat to Ardana in particular as well, who seem to be prioritizing this multi-chain ecosystem play early on in the evolution of Cardano's DeFi environment, which is really necessary. Oh, and by the way, I've got an interview with the founder at Ardana coming out shortly. I'm almost done with that edit, so stay tuned for that. It's been in the works for a little while. Okay, so what do we have next? We have, in other news though, I wanted to say, I did read a story about one of the OG analytics and portfolio tracking platforms, DappRadar, and how they're kind of pivoting their business model. So they're pivoting to a more interesting model. And in the same vein as many other utilities in the crypto space, part of this new business model shift is the launch of their utility token, Radar, which will serve as a governance mechanism for the DappRadar ecosystem. It's not on sale yet. It's not available, so don't get scammed. Not saying to buy it, just telling you the story. And speaking of that, the new DappRadar model will be focused on being a DappStore, which basically means that DappRadar will now be an aggregator for the ever-expanding world of decentralized applications across various platforms and protocols. Undoubtedly, the community, especially token holders, will control the ranking and scoring systems and all the underpinnings of that DappStore. And a DappStore, for those who might be wondering, is less so what you consider maybe an Apple App Store, for example, because a Dapp in general, a decentralized application, is free to use for everyone. But instead, this DappStore is more of a way to discover new dApps in one central place. For people entering the crypto space today, it's really hard to figure out the lay of the land and what different applications are available to use and what they do and are they safe and all that. So I really like the idea of DappRadar shifting in this direction more permanently long term. There's even a pretty cool redesign of the DappRadar page, which I think show you in a screenshot here. And I'm quite excited about this, actually. I can't wait to see how DappRadar kind of unfolds and makes this effective DappStore a model for everyone to get more involved in decentralized applications across different ecosystems. So awesome stuff. Now, another question I get fairly often is what the market opportunity really is for the metaverse in reality. Like, how much money is there to be made? Is this the next social media, smartphone, and personal computing industry evolving before our eyes? And interestingly enough, the investment powerhouse Grayscale laid out a report about the potential for the metaverse market, putting the value at 1 trillion market opportunity. I mean, if you think about the fact that Fortnite, one single game, a cross-platform game, has brought in $5 billion in revenue in its first year alone and more after that, that should tell you the market opportunity out there for virtual worlds where one will actually own their in-game items. I mean, you're talking about billions of dollars spent on skins and cosmetic items in a game like Fortnite that is free to play, and those items are literally just bits and bytes that the user can only use in Fortnite, the game itself. I also read in a study from, I think, Statista, whatever the website is, that an estimated $54 billion was spent in 2020 alone on in-game purchases, which further supports the idea that in-game digital assets and digital items will remain in demand today when games are all fragmented and separated from one another. And I can only imagine that trend will continue when there are many decentralized ecosystems and in-game worlds that allow us as users to own items that have real-world value and interact with one another socially and economically in that world. I mean, it's a massive, massive financial opportunity for builders who can put that experience together in a way that's appealing to the mainstream. And so I'm not talking about Facebook Meta either. I'm talking about community-built, decentralized metaverse technologies and platforms and worlds that interoperate with one another, and that is the end game for me in this whole space. The metaverse is not a product or a destination as much as it is a cultural shift, like the one that moved us from the analog world of information to the world of personal computing, when we as a society began to place more and more of our social experiences with virtual social experiences. I think that's when we're going to make our way into the metaverse. So it's going to be a huge area of growth for this space, and I want to know what you think. Do you agree? What do you think about the whole thing? Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for 404, Logic Not Found. And for those of you who are as of yet uninitiated in this little firecracker of a segment, I highlight notable tech-related fails or otherwise stupid moves in the world that need to get some attention. Speaking of attention, if you want to help this video or this podcast, whatever it is that you're watching or listening to, if you want to help me get some more attention on this show, please do share this, get subscribed, like the video, share the podcast, do whatever you can do to tell those robots that you're enjoying the content, that others might also enjoy the content that you are watching or listening to. So thank you for that in advance. Now, the topic of today's 404 session is a topic that I feel has been more overdone than your average SNL skit, and that is the great debate as to whether or not Craig Wright, the infamous leader behind Bitcoin Satoshi's vision, is in fact Satoshi Nakamoto, the anonymous creator of Bitcoin. For years, a legal and rhetorical battle has raged on between those who maintain and believe that Craig Wright is in fact Satoshi Nakamoto and those who vehemently oppose that notion. And obviously a lot of those people who oppose it think Wright to be a rather deplorable person for claiming that he is Satoshi Nakamoto. That's neither here nor there. Those two sides have very little common ground in their arguments, and frankly it seems that both are battling for pride now rather than any tangible value at this point in time. Now, I'm of the opinion personally that Craig Wright is not Satoshi Nakamoto based on the evidence that I've seen, or the absence of evidence that categorically proves he is Satoshi. But that opinion is really not the point of this segment. The point of this segment is that it simply does not matter who Satoshi Nakamoto is. And that's the beauty of it, I think. To me, what makes Bitcoin so unique from other blockchains and cryptocurrencies that have come after is the fact that it is free from attribution to some singular figurehead who is, for better or for worse, looked to for the ultimate decision-making processes on the future of the network. Furthermore, Satoshi Nakamoto's anonymity meant that there was no single person or group to hold accountable for the outcome of the Bitcoin experiment, as it was an experiment back in its early days. It became a core part of the Bitcoin thesis and the ethos that there would be no figurehead and no single person or group to lead and answer for the protocol. It was to be for the people, by the people. This was corroborated as well by the fact that Satoshi Nakamoto left without a trace, in particular when Satoshi began to be treated as a leader for Bitcoin to make decisions or to give opinions on the future, the path. And if you fast forward to today, where you have a circus around who is Satoshi and who gets credit for Bitcoin, who's right about Bitcoin, etc., it all begs the question, why does it matter? In fact, I'm of the mind that anyone who says they're Satoshi Nakamoto is likely not Satoshi Nakamoto, because it frankly would be a complete 180 from Satoshi's original written correspondence from the early days. The fact remains that whomever or whatever Satoshi is, the Bitcoin network and its forks to an extent are a product of free markets and decentralized communities. And it's a waste of time to attempt to take credit for such a thing. Bitcoin forks have a right to exist, but to me, there's so much time wasted arguing about what the legit Bitcoin implementation is or who Satoshi is, instead of focusing on what really matters, which is the adoption of decentralized protocols. We're fighting court cases on who made it in the first place, but I don't understand why. That to me is a 404 logic not found to me. I don't care who Satoshi Nakamoto is because the invention itself is designed insofar that we are all Satoshi Nakamoto. So anyways, my friends, it's time for sponsor time, which helps keep my coffee cup full, which I'm trying not to kick over, but I've got to hold the mic, so I can't really drink it. But I want to thank the first long-term sponsor of Crypto Over Coffee, who is Ledn. You might be familiar with them. They offer awesome Bitcoin and USDC savings accounts, and they have collateralized Bitcoin loans and all sorts of cool features for folks around the world. And Ledn recently has increased the interest rate tiers for both Bitcoin and USDC with 6.25% APY for balances up to 1 Bitcoin, 2.25% APY for balances over 1 Bitcoin, and a fixed 9.5% APY on your full USDC balance in your account. No bank is going to beat that, folks. Know the risks, but no bank is going to beat that. So love seeing rates going up based on market conditions and hope that still continues. As part of a new onboarding program as well for new users, you can get $10 in USDC if you make a qualifying deposit of $75 and leave it in Ledn for 15 days or more. And you can do that by using my link in the description and pinned comment below. So if you want to start earning interest on your Bitcoin and or USDC, give Ledn a look. All right, thanks. Now, I also want to shout out my friends at Unstoppable Domains, who are kind enough to sponsor a couple of segments on the show here in the month of November and December. So I wanted to shout out the Cyber Monday sale on Unstoppable Domains, which I have used many times in the past. For Unstoppable Domains, blockchain domains, you can use them for all sorts of things, like sending and receiving crypto, building your own decentralized website, all kinds of stuff, okay? On Cyber Monday, which is this coming Monday, if you're watching on the weekend this posts, once a year, Unstoppable Domains offers a buy one, get one free of lesser value sale, which is pretty significant if you ask me. So if you check out from your cart with 6 domains, for example, you're going to get 3 of those for free, right? You get the idea. This is one of the best opportunities to pick up domains for a bargain. And of course, there are no registration fees or ongoing fees for renewal for any Unstoppable Domains, just to let you know. A lot of people ask about that. So I'll remind everyone on Monday, if you're interested in getting a domain from Unstoppable Domains, now is probably a great time to do it. Big thank you to Unstoppable Domains for sponsoring this segment. And if you want to pick up a blockchain-based domain for crypto payments, for decentralized websites and all that stuff, make sure to use my link in the description below and the pinned comment. All right, so let's go ahead and do some community Q&A. I always answer questions from folks who watch the show, and I've got some questions from last week's episode that I am going to answer. And I want to remind you that if you have a question that you would like answered, no question is a stupid question, feel free to leave them in the comments below on YouTube, or you can tweet me at Hashoshi4 as well. You can DM me. DMs are kind of crazy, but DM me, send me a tweet, whatever you want to do. We can definitely knock that out. So let's go ahead and dive into these questions. I've got my laptop here. I'm going to try and get to these without letting go of the mic. So give me 1 second. All right. We've got one question here from Scott Mountford. Looking to buy a hardware wallet and want to hear your recommendations. Portfolio is growing and it is now time to get one. Okay, so first of all, Scott, brilliant that you're thinking about this. You're thinking about security ahead of time. This is brilliant. So here's my philosophy on hardware wallets. You want to get a hardware wallet that is going to be the best for you and your style. Some people are big time sort of on the go. You want to have something that you can plug into MetaMask and use on your your DEX trading and stuff like that. I genuinely think that if you're going to get a wallet that you want to just do a lot of different things and be able to take on the go with you, I still think the Ledger Nano X and the Trezor Model T are really, really great wallets. Okay, they do a lot of great things. There are a lot of people that have issues with them. I totally understand that, but I have both. I use both. I personally use my Trezor Model T with MetaMask very often. It has caused me problems recently on other networks than Ethereum, like Polygon. It doesn't play as nicely, so that's something to think about. But overall, I really do like the wallet. So if the first wallet for everyone should be one that works with MetaMask, especially if you have investments in the Ethereum ecosystem. But here's my thought. I like to do kind of a tandem setup where I've got a wallet that I use for just security that always sits in my safe or always sits in a safe spot. And I like the BC Vault for that purpose. I think it's a great wallet. It's very different than the rest, but that's a great like long-term hold, like hodl or hodl, however you want to say it. It's a great holding wallet. And then I have a Ledger Nano X and a Trezor Model T for on-the-go use. Another wallet I really like is the Keystone wallet. The Keystone, I believe their Pro model is fantastic. And they're also, I think, really working the integration section, especially in the Ethereum ecosystem and the Bitcoin world. There's a lot of stuff they've done feature-wise that are really, really powerful. And if you just have Bitcoin, you're only a Bitcoin person and you're watching, you can't beat the Cold Card as a Bitcoin-only wallet. A couple honorable mentions though. The Keevo wallet, Keevo, is pretty good. I've been working on a review for that one, as well as the Engrave. I've talked about that a little while ago. That's also really cool, and I'm working on a review for that one as well, doing some in-depth testing on those. But overall, that would be my pick. BC Vault for long-term hold, Keystone for long-term hold, Ledger Nano X, Trezor Model T for your sort of on-the-go daily use of crypto with MetaMask. Cold Card for Bitcoin only. You're good. So I will leave some links in the description below for anyone who wants to pick up a hardware wallet. No pressure to use my link. If you want to go through Google, just go through Google. Just make sure you're buying it from a legit source, okay? Next question is from AP Srinivasan. Hopefully I pronounced your name right. How do you invest in a blockchain game? So when I talk about blockchain games, I'm not always asking you to invest. Actually, I'm never asking you to invest. So I want to put that out there. I'm never telling you that you need to invest in anything. But if you want to invest in a blockchain game, there's often a couple of ways. I like blockchain games in general that give people the opportunity to get in an IDO capacity to the greatest extent possible, but also games that let people that can't invest early just play the game to earn and play the game to get involved. So you're investing your time rather than your money in playing the game. There are a lot of ways to invest in blockchain games. Sometimes there's a utility token that gets traded in an IDO capacity through like a public offering. Sometimes there are ways to just play to earn that native utility token. There are often always NFT assets as well, so non-fungible tokens like in-game items that you can buy, you can hold, and there's speculative value around those as well. So I would be thinking about some of those ways, but I want you to also think about this. You know how many games that there are out there and how many games are popular? You know how many people have created games like Fortnite or Roblox or Apex Legends, and how many of those games are actually successful? Very few. So there's a lot of blockchain games right now. You're not going to hit on every single one. In fact, there are going to be only a few that succeed, and a lot of them are really long time horizons. So you need to be very, very, very careful about investing in blockchain games, because while the space is hot right now, it might not always be. I think the future is staunchly in the world of metaverse and blockchain gaming. It's going to be huge. I agree with the folks like Alex Becker and Elio Trades and all those guys and all those girls who say gaming is the future of this space. In many ways, totally agree. I've been saying this as well for a while, that this would be an arbiter for mass adoption. It's already here. However, there's a lot of risk still. So please, please, please be careful. Okay, don't lose your shirt over gaming. All right. Actually, that goes for every crypto, by the way. Don't lose your shirt on crypto. Be careful. Next question. Let's see. The name is super small. It's from Evil Easy. Hopefully I pronounced your name right. What are your thoughts on the Cosmos network? Okay. I think folks know I'm a huge fan of interoperability. I think philosophically, the future of crypto is multi-chain. There is no doubt, there's no question in my mind. We cannot have this fragmented nonsense where it's like, my blockchain's better than yours. That doesn't work, okay? That's not a truly decentralized world. That's not a hyper-connected world. That just isn't compatible with how people work, okay? So I think networks like Cosmos that have taken this sort of base set of tools, the Cosmos SDK and the Tendermint engine, and say build blockchains from this, and you'll natively interoperate with all of the other platforms that are built, all those different sort of semi-homogeneous but semi-heterogeneous blockchains that are built into this network in this hub and spoke model. You're building a sort of universe of different blockchains. I love the conceptual model for Cosmos, and I have a full explainer video of how Cosmos works and the tech that's behind it. So if you're interested in that, please check it out. I will try to remember to link it up on the screen. But what I think is most powerful about Cosmos is that Cosmos is very inclusive to a lot of different ecosystems. They have an EVM compatible, so Ethereum virtual machine compatible blockchain network. I think it's called Ethermint. They have all sorts of cool projects. Terra Luna is in that space. There's a blockchain project in the AR, VR world, the gaming and metaverse world, that Passages 3D project that I was talking about last time and I couldn't get the name of. It's Strange Clans. That's also in the Cosmos space. Someone correct me in the comments. Shout out to you if that was you. Thank you. I just couldn't place the name last time. I think maybe it was the cold that was getting to me. I've had a bad run of it on this trip. My camera's broken. I had to sit out in the cold for the last video, so it's been a whole mess, but hopefully we'll get back to normal programming soon. Apologies for the aside. I think Cosmos Network has a really bright future, and I think that in the future of crypto, you're going to see Cosmos and their DeFi primitives continue to succeed, and as they might integrate with the Polkadot DeFi world in Akala, for example, I think you're going to see some really cool cross-interoperability opportunities here. I also think that as the Cosmos ecosystem of different blockchains continues to adopt IBC, Inter-Blockchain Communication Protocol, which connects all of these blockchains directly to each other, you're going to see it get better and better and better and better. So Cosmos is just one of those underrated projects that just always flies under the radar. There's not a lot of aggressive marketing, and a lot of the projects that are underneath don't really talk so much about the technical side and hype that up. So I can kind of be here to share that I think Cosmos has a bright future. A lot of cool projects in that space, already established ones, mind you, but there are ones that haven't even come to the forefront yet outside of the Terra Lunas of the world, the Osmosis Zone, the Osmo token. There's a ton of new stuff, and I've talked about a few of them like Archway in the past. Cosmos is awesome. The tech is solid. I think it has a bright future along with Polkadot and some of the others that are out there. So I think that's the last question we have for the day. Yes, it is. I want to thank you guys for being so patient about videos this last week and a half while I've been traveling. Should be back to the normal office setup here very shortly. And I want to say very much to everyone right up front, thank you so much for taking the time to watch Crypto Over Coffee, to listen to it if you're on the podcast. I will be catching up with you guys next Saturday, but I've got some cool videos this coming week in the middle of the week. If you want to check those out, make sure you're subscribed on the YouTube side of things, because these are going to post as videos, not podcasts. But if you have some time to stick around, I'll leave a couple of videos here on the screen for you to click. But most of all, hope you and your family had a great Thanksgiving. Hope you have a great week ahead. And until next time, cheers.